Morning. Oh,
Hello, sir.
hello, Sridhar. I need the screen sharing, please.
Yeah, one second.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be available now.
Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. No. Uh, okay.
Hi, Ranji.
Hey, how are you, Krishna? Good
Now we
morning.
can hear. Now we can hear each
Yeah.
other today.
Yes. Yes, I
Good,
can.
good, good. Yeah. Good.
Okay. So I'm going to be presenting a couple of different things
Let's
today.
wait for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Sorry.
so there was another meeting going on this line, and
Yeah.
I had to stop them. So,
Oh,
so I sent a message saying I might be a little late for this one. So that's fine.
okay.
We'll start in
Okay.
about 2 minutes. Yeah.
Sure.
So how are things going with you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I went and got my laptop battery changed. So
Ah.
that's
Was that the problem?
that was one of the problems. I mean, it had many other problems.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you already finish the July meeting? I mean,
July meeting.
the
That's
one in
one
Bangalore.
with leadership. Yeah, it's happening this Friday and Saturday. So
Oh,
unfortunately,
okay.
we can't do anything online, so it's
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I guess people have come. I said we're a little bit late, but I think we can start pretty much on time. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, everybody. And just a minute. So one of the things, a couple of things that I'm going to be covering today. One of them is generally about selling, and I'm also going to talk about what is going to be required in order to establish your company. I mean, assuming that you do want to, establish your company. So what are the steps going to be involved? And also, it is not just establishing a company. I mean, you will need the funding to start the company, to funding to run the company, funding to sell the products and things like that. So one of the first aspects of that is selling. And so a few pointers about selling is what I'm going to start with today. Okay, so here is a video. So I want you to go and look at that. And also, I want you to go and research what are the customer sources that you are going to be using. Like, for example, what do you want from them? How do you meet them? How do you get the information about customers, etc.? So before you go and talk to customers, before you go and try to sell your product, you will have to practice. You have to practice and practice and practice. So what do you do? And one of the first things that I want to recommend and I want to tell you is that you have to, you don't call your potential customers at the end of the day. When they are just, I mean, like, at 8 o'clock or even 7:45, if you want to reach out to them, then they are going to be fresh in their minds and they are going to be willing to listen to you. So you have to, like, what do they say? Only a crying child will get milk. So if you have to get sales, you have to ask the customer. So that is called the ask. So you have to ask them. So that is a sales call. And many times these sales calls are completely out of the blue. I mean, like, it's called cold call. So, you are calling them cold. But sometimes, you also let them know that, you are calling them and things like that. So there are multiple ways to do that. So you will learn. But especially a startup, you have to know how to reach out to customers and you have to know how to talk to customers. So what are some of the things that I posted earlier? How do you talk to customers? How do you talk to potential supporters, investors? So those things, you have to learn how to do that. So please go back and read those books that I posted. Okay. And, even when you are making the minimum viable product and trying to sell the minimum viable product and things like that, these things are going to be part of your life. So, so what do you have to do? You all have to become, you have to be able to share kahani, share your stories. So I'm going to, next week, I'm going to be talking about how to tell stories and how to tell stories. So there are two types of stories, right? One is an interesting story. One is a hit. The other one is a flop. You don't want to be a flop. You want to be a hit. Okay. So for doing that, you have to learn how to catch their attention. You have to know how to catch them. And one of the first things that you have to do is to call them in the morning. And you shouldn't bore them. You should not tell too many different things. You should say things in a very short manner. So for sometimes, you are able to see these people only for a few seconds, 5 seconds. So that is called an elevator pitch. And I'm going to give a brief heads up how to create a storyline. Okay, I'm going to talk about that, and I will share that with you. Okay, so you play a game. So, I mean, just practice in your team. You practice that. So, just two people. Think of one as a buyer and the other one is a seller. And you are selling a notebook to the buyer. How will you do that? You just take 3 minutes and use it as an example and share it among yourself. And there are multiple things. So if you go to this website, you should be able to train yourself. So train and practice before you go and talk to the actual customers. But tell you what, even if the first time your trial is not successful, it is okay. You go and talk to a second customer. You go do that. But among the team, the 4 of you form 2 teams and practice among yourself. Or, say one will try to sell it to 3 people. But that's okay. But doing 2 people is the easiest. Okay? So try that out before you go and talk to an actual customer. So that is the first game I want you to try. So what is the outcome? So when you go and talk to a customer, how many of the sellers started telling you about the product? And how many of the buyers asked you, how many of the sellers asked the buyer, what are your needs? So there are 2 things. You can start telling about your product and you can start asking about your needs. So asking about the needs is going to be more successful than telling about the product. So this is called the ask, and this is the other one is called the tell. Tell is going to be not successful. Ask is going to be successful. So what is ask? Asking the customer, what do you need? Are you using a notebook? Where do you buy it from? What is going to be useful for you? How do you buy that? How much are you willing to pay for it? So those kinds of questions, asking, and do you need this product? How do you take this product? Okay. So if you are a seller, if you are the seller, please write in the chat box. What is going to be your first question? Oh. What is going to be your first question? So what do you want to be your first question? Please, just type whatever, just write whatever you want this thing. See, again, if you are going to tell about the quality, you are going to be telling about the product. That is not what you want. Right? You have not sold the product yet. So you can't ask them, are you satisfied with the product? You have to find out what is the need of the customer. Right? So that interest of the customer, exactly. So that is what you want. Okay? So this is the difference between ask and tell. So if you ask, that is going to be more successful than telling about the product. So again, split. If you have a team of 4, split into two, okay? One of them is a buyer and the other one is a seller. So practice, practice, practice. So the person who is selling, find out what are the buyer's needs. So if you know the buyer's needs, then you can sell the product. Otherwise, you cannot create the product that is going to sell. If you are just going to create a product, I mean, if you just create a shoe without finding out what is the need of the seller, I mean, buyer, then the shoe is not going to sell. Okay? So that is what you want to do. So here is another example, okay? You are a warehouse, and the buyer is a hotel undergoing a renovation. And, you know, if you go to a hotel, you will see a lot of paintings, a lot of sculptures and all those things. And if you are the one selling that product, so please write in the chat box, what is the first question? What are the questions that you will ask the buyer? Please type in the chat box. Give me some examples. No, I mean, you are trying to sell a painting. You are selling a sculpture. If you are going to doing that, what are you going to asking about? No, but what is the question that you will ask them? What is the question you will ask them? What is the first question you will ask them? No, I mean, if you are going to ask the goals, that is a very generic question. That is not going to tell you what the priorities are. Asking what they want. Yes, but what is it that you want to find out? You want to find out. What kind of art? I mean, are you interested in modern art? Are you interested in old paintings? Are you interested in Indian paintings or international paintings? Right? Are you interested? Exactly. So when you start asking that question, you will start getting the answers. So based on that, you can figure out how do you sell your product. So priorities. What is the price that they want to do? What are the, do you want an original art? I mean, do you want a Raja Ravi Verma painting or do you want a Picasso painting? So those kinds of things that you want to do. Or it's because you have to put the same painting in so many of the rooms, you have to say, hey, how many of these replicas do you want? I mean, what kind of replicas do you want? What is the size of the replica that you want? Right? So those are the kinds of things. So you ask questions to discover their priorities. So you create a checklist. What is the buyer's checklist? What is the kind of art that you are going to do? What is the seller? What is the price that the buyer is willing to pay? So those are the kinds of, so you do a game among yourself, okay? And write down the checklist and see where the matching happens. And based on that, you can figure out what is it going to be used. I mean, how is it that you are going to sell the product? So if you are going to, I mean, like, for example, if you have if you are an app, a group creating apps, okay, and that app is going to create an app that remembers passwords. How useful would that be, right? And you don't need to memorize them. How do you create that? And you do that in 3 minutes, okay? And understand, how do you sell the product? What is it that you are going to do? Okay? So that is the first exercise. So please go back and create groups among yourself and take some of these games and play games among yourself. Okay? So now there are please mute yourself. Okay? So when you start a company, as I said to you, there are so many things that you have to do. The first thing is you have to, I have some examples given in Canvas. Okay? So the first example that you have to do is you have to give a name to your company. How do you select a name? In the old days, we had to dream of these things. Now you have ChatGPT. You can go and set up an example. If you ask the right question, ChatGPT is going to give you the right answer. So try to come up with a name for your company. Even if you don't have a product, that would be an exam. That would be a homework assignment that I want you to do. Come up with a company name. And if you are ready to start a company, then you have to go and set it up in, you have to register that. In the old days, like registration and things like that would have taken 6 months to a year. Nowadays, it takes almost, less than a day. It probably a couple of hours is maximum. You have to do that. And then you have to think about, how do you finance your company? So there are a lot of legal aspects to that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and just give you the example. So please, after this, if you are ready, you should talk to your faculty mentors and figure out what are the things that you have to do. So please write in the chat box, how many of you have, you may not have a final product, but how many of you have an idea for a final product? Minimum viable product. How many of you have that? Please write in the chat box. Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay. So now you have to start figuring out, how do you, if you had the product, how do you sell that? What is it that you are going to need in order to sell that product? So you have to start a company. So when do you start a company? Realistically, a company is started when you sell your first product, which means the customer is going to give you money, rupees, instead of the product or the service. Like, if you have an IT service, the IT service, you are delivering that IT service in return for money, in return for rupees. Okay. So only by setting it up, you are going to start the company. So just dreaming it in your mind is not going to be the status of the company or change the status, change the company. It's not going to do that. Okay. You will do that only if you have started creating the product and selling the product to the customer. So for that, you need money. So how do you find the money for that? So there are multiple ways. Like, you can ask your dad, mom, brother, sister, friends. You can do that. But is that going to be, suppose your company needs 100 crores per month or even 10,000 rupees per month. Do you think that your father or mother is going to be able to give you, unless they are, like Ambani's or whatever, are they going to be able to give you that money? You have to have people who are interested in it. So before you have even created the product and selling the product, you need the financing to start the company. You have to you have to purchase the equipment to make the product. Even if you are an IT service, you need computers. How do you buy the computer? Computer is going to cost you 60, 70,000 rupees, right? You need phones. You need a room. You need to pay rent. You need a lot of things. You need insurance. If you have people working for you, you have to pay a lot of things. You have to not only pay them money, you have to pay their provident fund. You have to pay their their medical insurance. You have to do all those things, right? So you have to negotiate with the insurance companies. You have to insure your building. You have to do a lot of things, right? So for all of that, you need finance. So you have to go talk to investors. So a lot of things are there. So in the old days, you could just go and tell the investor. But now there are ways and formats to do that. Okay. So the incubator or the startup support in your college can help you to come up with all this information. So you need money. So what is money required for? So the initial stages is called before you start making the actual product. You need a lot more money than you will be making. You will be needing 100 rupees and you probably will be getting nothing, right? So that is called the valley of death. You have to cross that valley of death. And how do you cross that valley of death? You have to get somebody to support you. And your parents, friends, family, most probably is not going to be able to do that. You have to have investors. And you have to go tell them. So in the startup world, it is called the seed funding. And sometimes, you have angels, you have gods who will bless you. I will give you this money. Go do this. I don't want anything from you. But there are also people who will invest in you, expecting that you will pay it back or give them money back. Or, they will expect that, when you go public, you have shares and you will be able to give them so many shares. You have to do those kinds of things. So there is a stage when you start breaking even. That means your income is equal to your expenses. But when you have a company, are you going to be satisfied with break even? Can you tell me in the chat box, are you going to be satisfied with break even? Yes, no. No, exactly. You are not going to be satisfied with break even. You have to start. Excuse me, please mute yourself. So you have to go through this early stage. And then there are venture capitalists. You have investors. You create strategic alliances. You do multiple things. I mean, you have to do jugaad. You have to do a lot of things. And then once you are ready, you create a company that has shares. So that is called initial public offering. And then it goes to the public. So you can do multiple things. Many times, most of you are going to be in the early stage. So you have smaller venture capitalists, you have some loan that you will take from the bank. So for getting loan from the bank, you have to show the bank that you are going to get consistent revenue. You are going to be producing so many products. Somebody has to buy those products from you. Somebody is like, for example, if you are selling the product to Tata's has to say, hey, I'm going to be buying so many of your products every month. I'm going to be giving you so much money every month. Only based on that you can get money from venture capitalists or from the bank. So you have to do these things. And the key thing is money. Money, I mean, whether we like it or not, I mean, we can all be very nice and say that, hey, we don't care about money. That is not the case. A startup needs money. Without that, it is not going to survive. No. Take it, I mean, I'm not the only one who is going to be telling you that. Your incubators are going to be telling you that. Your startups are going to be, your mentors are going to be telling you that. Everybody is going to tell you that. If you have to sell, you need money. And you have to cross that value of that. And this is crossing that is very important. Now, there are times when you will not reach the break even, which means that your company is going to fail. Don't worry about it. Even if you fail, it's okay. Go start another company. Go come up with another idea. What is the cost of your idea? What do you need for the idea? Please write in the chat box. What do you need for the idea? You just need your brains. You just need your brains, okay? So if you have come up with one idea, you can as well come up with another idea. So it takes time, and the shorter the time it is for breaking even, the better it is. So a lot of things, I mean, so a lot of different kinds of investments you can do. And so what is the nature of the investment? What is the risk of that investment? What is the pressure for repayment? Like, if you get it, if you're taking a loan, you have to pay it back. Are they going to pressure you? I mean, is somebody going to come and stand in front of your house every day and saying, hey, when are you going to repay that? The bank you have seen the movies, right? Somebody comes and says, hey, I need this money back tomorrow. If I don't, I'm going to take away your refrigerator and TV and everything in your house, or your car inside your house, or your motorbike inside your house. How do you do that? And how do you return that money to the investor? In your daily decisions for your company, what is the level of involvement for the person who has given you the money. What are the sources of money? So there are multiple things, okay? So it's called equity financing. The other one is called debt financing. And sometimes, you can also get grants. Somebody, even the government is giving you grants, which means that there is no expectation of paying it back. Okay, so multiple things are there, and there are different types of funding that you can get. So you can either give shares in your company, I will give you 5% of your company. I will give you 10% of my company in return for a couple of crores. Hopefully in return for a couple of lakhs of rupees or 25,000 rupees. If you do that, so please go and read this and understand. So based on that, the risk factor is different. The pressure for repayment is different. And when do you return that is also going to be different. So in today's world, most high-tech companies are called lean startup. So some of the things that I talked about, business model canvas, minimum viable product, all those things that I talked in the earlier classes, is all part of the lean startup. So a lean startup is different from a big company. So in a lean startup, sometimes you only have 1 or 2 people, and sometimes you're only one person. So you're also the chaprasi, you're also the typist, you're also the phone person, you're also the everything. You do everything yourself. So that is called the lean startup, which means that you spend the least amount of money and make your company successful. And many times it will take many years before you make that company successful. But it is an interesting and exciting thing to do. I have been a mentor for many startups, and it is the most exciting and wonderful experience that gives me a lot of happiness. And I hope that your faculty mentors also will have the same happiness when they make you successful. But what is the basic feature of a lean startup? You never take money before you generate it for yourself. You don't, sometimes, you are literally surviving on nothing. And you have to create money before you start earning anything. You take the least amount of money to survive, just to survive. And how many of you have heard about something called business plan competitions? There are a lot of groups in each big city, and even in small cities they have, okay? So you have to go and present your idea in front of people, and you have to learn how to tell a story. You have to hook the people who are going to be listening from you about how how your company is going to make money. They are interested in, I mean, if they have to invest in you, they have to know that you are going to be successful. If you're going to be a failure, why should they invest in you? So you have to learn how to tell stories. We will talk about how to tell a story effectively, especially from a lean startup perspective. I'm going to talk about that in the next class. Okay. So you can connect directly with them. So these are some of the angels, venture capitalists, and banks in India. Okay. So you can, if you go there, you can find out where are they located, how are they, how do you reach out to them, and things like that. So in India, there are a lot of angels. I mean, in many big cities, there are angel groups. So if you Google them, you can find out. And sometimes, they will have a Wednesday lunch meeting, or, they will have a Wednesday dinner meeting. You ask for an opportunity to go talk to them, and you create that link up with different people. Okay. So there are a bunch of them mostly in big cities. Okay. But you can actually probably through other, there are more angel groups coming up. This is just a very small list of angel groups. So please, if you are ready, whenever you are ready to go talk to them, you can do that. But these are some of the names. So, like, for example, if there are venture capitalists in Tamil Nadu, there are so many of them, like, a few of them. Filter copy mafia, like, so young entrepreneur school, yes. NASCAM. So, many of them are IT support startups, but there are also VCs that support hardcore companies. Okay. So reach out to them and find out what kind of company they will support. To start the company, you go talk to them. And there is a list of things that I have posted in Canvas. Please go open it up and read that. And you should be able to see what exactly is the information that they are going to. This is just like preparing for an exam. Okay. You have to prepare for the exam. You have to practice for that exam, and you have to go. And the first time they will say, hey, they will ask you questions, and they will say, hey, we are not interested because you are not saying these things. So based on the response back, you can modify your presentation and you go talk to other people. So keep practicing and keep doing that. So, just because you got money from one venture capitalist doesn't mean that you cannot go and talk to another venture capitalist. And there are a lot of opportunities, and the government is supporting that. The colleges are supporting that. So please take advantage. So lot of what are the different sectors that they are supporting and things like that. So there are detailed reports. If you go and look it up, you should be able to find it. Okay. So if you, I think this one, it should tell you that. So please do that. And here is another list of venture capitalists. Top most active venture capital firms in India for startups. So Inc42.com has a lot of information. So please go look it up. Just even if you don't go to them today, it's okay. But educate yourself. What are the types of grants that you can get? Like, business plan competitions are one. So there are other things like, so Startup India, WhatsApp Grant Challenge. A lot of things are there. So the money that you get, you don't have to pay back at all. So I would say that before you go to VCs and angel investors, you should try grants. So if you have shown success with grants, it is probably easier to get money from VCs and angel investors, because you have competing. And if you have gotten funding, that shows the VCs that, hey, somebody else looked at them and said they are worthy of investment, worthy of support. So maybe my funding is also worthy of being given to these people. So you learn these things, and it is a constant learning program. Okay. Even after so many years, I have done many of these business plan competitions. Many of my students have done that. But when I do this with a new group, it is a new experience. It is a new startup. It's a new story. One story is already old. I have heard it. It's all done. But today, it's a new story. It's a new thing to do. So how do you register your company? So first you have to know whether your name, whatever name you come up with, has somebody else got a name. So two companies cannot have the same names. You have to figure out, hey, is this name unique or not? So there are a lot of, if you are doing registration in Hyderabad, it is much easier. A lot of things, and in most states, I think it has become very simple, very straightforward. You can do that. Oh, okay. I think. So, how do you register? If you're, so a lot of opportunities are there, and a lot of ways to do this are there. So here are a few pointers. So depending upon what type of a company it is, you have to talk to whether it is a limited liability partnership, basic partnership. So depending upon that, you can get the support. You have to pay that amount of money. If it is a limited company, that is more expensive. But if it is a limited liability company, it is less expensive. So based on that, you can do that. So this is a step. Sorry. You have to have a bank account. You have a Aadhaar registration. So this is called a TAN number. A lot of things are there. So this is a step-by-step process. So I'm just throwing a few things at you. Please talk to your faculty mentors and figure out, how to go about doing this. Okay. And then if you have a intellectual property, so that you fight for time. So a lot of information is there. So please, I mean, if you are going to do import export, you have to have other types of registration to be done. So lot of, I mean, if you have an agriculture product, you have to do ag mark, and you have to register for ag mark and things like that. A lot of things are there. So please, depending upon the type of product that you're going to be making, these things are going to be different for each of you. Perhaps this is probably should be done even before you have to and have to have some people to take an interest in you. You have to have their support, and they have to tell you, hey, I'm going to do this. What do you think about this? Who do you go talk to? I mean, can you go talk to your teacher? I mean, your mentors all the time? I mean, your faculty mentors all the time? No, you need somebody who is going to be beyond that, whom you can reach out any time of the day, or any, I mean, like, they will be willing to share their experiences. So there are a lot of people who are willing to do that in India now. Okay. So you have to find a mentor. So the other one is you need an incubator. Like, if you don't have an incubator, and the space is most of the time it is given to you for rent free, or it will tell you, hey, if you get so much money, you have to share so much money. Depending upon that, you can get, like, if it is in Delhi or NCR region, you can get startup incubator. Many of the colleges, like, RIT has an incubator. I think KJ Somaya College has an incubator. So a lot of colleges have started setting up, like, RV College in Bangalore has a incubator. I think Kalasalingam has an incubator. Tyagaraja College has an incubator. So many of them. I mean, like, I'm so pleased to see the kind of support that. But we need to keep supporting. I mean, I mean, the students, the amount of support that they need can never be sufficient. We need to keep giving them more and more support. Like, once one group of students have graduated and gone, there are more groups of students willing to come through this. But when we do this, there are more and more of you willing to start companies on your own. More and more of you willing to have an entrepreneurial mindset. So please keep doing this and keep doing that. And how do you have a working space? Like, how do you find incubation? Like, not every college has that. Not every city has that. So how do you find that? Is this? So once you do this and once you launch, celebrate. Please use every moment, every chance to celebrate your success. Don't worry about the failures. Always celebrate successes. Okay?
Good. Very interesting presentation, very useful. Thank you. All set? Any questions? Very interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I have one more thing I wanted to. Connection is a little unstable.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is a little bit breaking up.
Okay.
You can quit for the day, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and please do go and look up the information that I have posted on Canvas.
Yep.
And
And one more webinar next week, right? Last one.
Read through that and
Right?
huh? That's the last class, yes.
Okay.
And I will post a few assignments after this class, and
Okay.
please do solve them when you get a chance. Okay.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.